Hey chess lovers, welcome back to the Chessyard. This is dhairyabagga and let's solve some chess puzzles. I'll try to go above 2100 now. Good number, but has to go around 2200 to begin with, and then we'll try to scale from there as well. Alright, so we'll try to solve puzzles. This is the first one. Rook to c8 is played, and now the continuation has to be something material winning and promoting this pawn somehow, one of these, because otherwise white looks lost with the material imbalance that's there already. The problem with moving this pawn forward is that the bishop can take and then always control back. You can firstly push the pawn, that way you will have an rook exchange at least. You can take with the knight, and then maybe you can just take a pawn, threaten to take the bishop. Can continue in this format. I don't see any other way, because if I just move the knight, it's lost. Knight isn't going to much good squares. I can take the bishop maybe and then proceed with it, or just uh, push the pawn forward so that rook is lost. If I take this, then again, how am I promoting these two? I think connected pawns, they should be able to promote. Maybe I should just take the bishop. Taking the bishop looks reasonable. All right. Now again, I have a choice of defending this pawn, which looks tough. I cannot defend it really. I can give a check. Um, and if the opponent takes, then I cannot do much. What if I just push the pawn forward? I push the pawn forward and promote. Opponent takes. Uh, then again, I can just take a pawn, nothing more from there as well. It's still very much of material imbalance situation. Pawn forward, opponent takes, and then again, the rook and the knight are in diagonal, so I cannot threaten to take it in even two moves. Um Check and go here. Opponent might not even take. What is the more forcing move here? Looks like pushing the pawn and promoting to a queen, and the opponent takes. What's the next move from there? Maybe taking the pawn, but then another pawn is also lost. Opponent has rook and knight, and it's easily convertible game from there. Rather, I can just give a check maybe. Uh, all right, there's one more thing I can do. I think I can take this pawn. If opponent takes, I promote. If doesn't, then still I can promote. And yeah, I think this makes sense. No, okay. What is the solution here? Blocking it so that then, of course, you can promote. But what if the opponent takes? Then you can simply promote. All right, decent puzzle. Couldn't figure out. Doesn't matter. We can continue. And the idea is to give a check, but then opponent moves up, and I cannot take the pawn with the queen. My queen will also be attacked with the rook. I cannot take the rook there. The rooks are steering on to h7 already. So there has to be some good continuation. It has to start with this itself. There's nothing much that I can do about it otherwise. There is no peace trap happening, and this is about to fall. The bishop is also nice. We don't have any slow moves possible. I think I should start with the queen. And once it goes up, the king, I can probably put my bishop here and give a check. Opponent takes, and then I can take back. Opponent then still can go back, so not a problem as such. If I take with the queen, of course, I lose the queen because knight stands there staring already. So maybe just bishop here, uh, and then I can take. I can even take with the pawn, and that's mate. Wow, that was nice. Nice to spot, but the idea was right to the begin with. All right, next puzzle. Knight hops in onto a g4, attacking the rook, which means my knight is also under attack. This pawn forward looks very strong to me because once you move the pawn, there is this pawn takes, queen is threatened. You block the queen's diagonal as well. Maybe you just want to take with the bishop first, but then bishop controls this as well. Pawn forward, and then I can take the pawn, and then I can take with the bishop, and then win a piece. When you go exchange up, maybe this way it's beneficial. What else? Can I trap the knight? If I move the rook, still this knight is well defended, so not a chance. I think again going pawn forward or sacking at first makes sense. I doubt it because if I take with the bishop, the sequence becomes different. Opponent can take with the bishop, and if I then push the pawn forward, opponent can simply take with the bishop, and then knight takes. Oh, still I'm winning a piece there. Instead, if I just go pawn forward, opponent goes back. I take with the pawn. Opponent takes with the bishop, and I go exchange up. That's one continuation. The second one is if I sack the bishop to begin with, opponent takes with the bishop. Uh, then I play pawn forward. Opponent takes with the bishop. I take with the knight. Again, there's no much threat because the knight is not attacking the queen. So that's why I think pawn forward is a more strong move. Opponent does take here, and now I can take with the bishop and win the queen immediately. If I had taken with the bishop, maybe when you just push the queen back first and then take, that would have been better, maybe. Anyway, next one, queen can take the knight. We will be threatening mate as well, but when we go about that, the problem which steers on the face is that this queen is going to come down, give a check. If you move up with the king, then this rook comes in, and then trades happen. Is there a way that I can just continue giving check to begin with? Like, king comes here, opponent moves. Still, there's not much. Oh, yes, maybe then I have a move to escape, or I should simply take it first. Um, so let's calculate. I take the knight, queen gives me a check. I cannot get the bishop backwards because it's of no use because rook is also steering onto e8. So there's a lot of attack going on here. Uh, if I so just move up after, of course, I take the knight. Opponent gives a check. I move up. Here comes rook, and then I move here. Then again, it's threatening a lot of pressure on my rook. Uh, so I think I should not go with this line because that would end up with a checkmate. But if I just give a check first, opponent does move. I then take, and the same thing happens. I move up. Uh, and then if opponent plays, I can simply move to the other side as well, and that would be safer. So I think it should start with a check. Yes. Okay, so first move was nice. We found the right move. Now we have to continue, with which means I can either take this straight away. I think taking makes more sense now than just giving a check with the bishop. If I give a check with the bishop, opponent can come here as well, can go here, can go back again. I don't want to go into that line, so I'll take the knight first. Now comes a check, which I can simply move my king up and defend. Opponent takes, and I take here, and we are material up. So it was a very strong puzzle, moving the king straight away, giving a check first rather than just not taking the knight in the beginning was the trick part, and we calculated it the right way. All right, let's continue. Now queen attacks the knight. I am a fork away. It is a fork. Um, but a lot of things have to go right for that fork. Uh, Knight is attacking, but it's well defended. Piece. Rooks can double up, but then I take, of course. I'm not a threat. Maybe just going up with the queen. Oh, okay. Wait a second. This queen is also attacking twice on the knight. So if I just move my queen, I'll be losing a piece. Eventually, I'll lose my knight and bishop for the rook. I can promote as well, but it will be lost straight away. If I give a check, opponent can take straight away. Uh, is there a way out of this? Of course, there is, but we need to find it. So, what if I just go with my queen here, attacking the rook? Then opponent, of course, takes. I take back, queen takes, and then I just run, and opponent has more material. If I promote, opponent takes, and then do I have a tactic? I don't see anything nearby there. If I move my knight to begin with, let's just say the knight hops into here, can go to a5. That's a defended square. Try to pressure on the b3, but it's still very well defended pawn. Not a weakness in the opponent structure. I can take, and then opponent can take as well, or can simply take my knight as well. If I play pawn forward, opponent takes the knight. So I think it has to do with something with the queen move. House queen here again. The problem is opponent will take this. So is there a way I can defend this and attack the knight, attack the rook as well? Then I need my queen somewhere here, which is not possible in one move. So it's a tough puzzle. All right. What can we do here? I simply don't see any immediate solution. Um, Moving the king is very passive, but can be a quiet move puzzle too that adds protection to the knight, and then you can probably continue attacking. Um, if I do this, opponent takes. Oh yes, this is the solution. The fork is there, but the fork doesn't work. But then this fork works. So you give a fork first with a check, give another check, and you win the rook as well. So another good puzzle we solved. Again, if you take time, if you evaluate the lines, you will always find ways to solve puzzles even above 2100. All right, next one is again, queen has just moved on to a5. Why has the queen moved to a5? Questions like these should be answered. Trying to attack, maybe sack the rook next and then take my rook with the queen is the idea. Um, so opponent is trying to play on this side of the board while we have a bishop pair, which we should be using more effectively than what we are doing right now. How do we do it now? Is the next question. Our queen is also in the opponent's court, threatening to create some attack on itself. We have the move rook going down to, which is basically forcing a rook trade, which looks very nice actually, because then we can pressurize from here as well and eventually land into a checkmate as well, which is more strong move. I think rook going downwards makes a lot of sense here. I want to go with this line. Should I just cross check once again? I think I should. Rook goes to d1. Now opponent has a few moves. Queen can give me a check, which I will of course take back. And then other option that opponent has is to lose and go exchange down. And the best option is to take. And if the opponent takes, I take with my queen. That's a check. Opponent can move up, and in that case as well, I can simply improve position maybe of my queen. threat. I cannot come on d2 because it's defended with the queen. I have to stay aware of this diagonal too, but I think it should begin with this move for sure. I don't see any more compelling move as of now. So I'll play this. Okay, no, this doesn't work. Rook to d2 is more compelling because it's threatening to take the bishop. Bishop cannot really escape. If bishop goes backwards, then you can take the pawn here, and that also is bad for the opponent. And just to evaluate, why was rook to d1 a bad move? What does rook d1 does? The best move is to take the pawn for the opponent. If they take, I can even take the rook. If not, exchange everything here. This is a position I would like to play in a game as well. I don't mind playing with this. Having the bishop pair, active queen, a lot of active play happening. Once you just go back, you are attacking the bishop, you are attacking the pawn. You can use the other bishop as well eventually to checkmate on g2. So there can be a lot of ideas. Bishop pair is very strong in open game, and of course, when you play against opponents, they will falter for it as well. Anyways, let's go to the next puzzle. Now I can take, doesn't do much. All it does, it just loses me the rook, nothing more than that. And that rook loss can be painful as well. So I'll rather keep my rook here until it's very critical. So let's just say I take the bishop, sack my queen, doesn't solve anything. Rather, I can just take the bishop out after opponent takes. Um, then maybe I can just pressurize more here. No, then I can go for rook exchange. Yeah, take here, opponent takes, and I can give a check. Opponent can of course go back as well in that case. Is that fine? First move we have found it right. If I give a check, what's the next move opponent can play here? Opponent can come back with the rook. Opponent can even take the rook. I can trade and I'll be down. Rather, I should just pin this rook first by going here and then go for the same idea. No? Okay, what's the solution? Just going down. Opponent takes. I take as a check. Opponent goes back. And then the mate from f3. Yes, I can give a mate from f3 too. All right, nice puzzle. Couldn't finish it, but started off it in a decent fashion. Now again, I can take this rook. I can take the queen too, which is more stronger. Um, the king is on the light squared angle, so the bishop is controlling a diagonal, but it's not very effective. Queen cannot go on to the diagonal straight away. But this bishop can be very vicious, backwards diagonal, in the sense. What if I just take with the pawn? What's the threat? I don't see any threats if I take the rook with the pawn. Um, Maybe then this takes, I take, opponent takes. My queen is kind of attacked, but opponent's queen is also attacked. Not a bad ploy. Or I take this, opponent takes this. Then again, I can win this rook. This computation is also nice. I can still win a rook in this way as well. Something is bad here which I'm not able to see. Opponent takes, I take back, go down maybe after taking the queen. So these two are the primary options. In one we lose our queen, in one we don't. I think with not. Okay. If I take the queen, yes. Opponent also takes. We win the rook here. And that's the solution. What was bad with the initial idea? If we take on this, what's wrong here? Okay, queen can be saved. and since it's saved, you move your king up. And then what's the refutation from here? Opponent can take the bishop too. Okay, that's hanging, but opponent's bishop 2 is hanging as of now, but that can be saved. So it's plus 3 odd in favor of white. So yeah, three puzzles have gone wrong now. The streak was nice earlier, but let's continue. Let's not stop here. Rook takes, because otherwise rook is kind of lost. There is a check from knight. Getting more pieces involved in a checkmate is always the idea. There is a queen check coming from here as well. This looks more strong to me suddenly. That check from queen would mean that opponent king has to go up itself. Going here can be bad, because then I take, and then opponent takes and I win the rook. So going with the queen makes more sense. Yes, and then you take this and then you win a rook. Oh, it is still not over. Okay, I have to finish what I've started. Is there a checkmate? Maybe this knight move is a checkmate. Yes. Everything else is covered with the diagonal. Queen is controlling everything. King cannot really move. So, yes, it's a checkmate. All right, next. That was kind of easy puzzle. There is a fork coming in, but you want to go into the fork straight away. But okay, this looks kind of a weird and a nice situation as well. Maybe queen is also hanging. You can give a check as well. Opponent can, of course, eventually trade off everything. There's a fork. The queen is hanging. Even a check is coming. Clearing the knight out of this diagonal makes a lot of sense. And why so? Because your bishop is unleashed then as well. Maybe you can just take and trade off everything. So material wise, there is no imbalance as of now. Pawn structure is better for black, of course, but that is not a concern. You can always take this. Also, if you see, it's a nice battery, but not doing much. I can give a check. Opponent runs away, and then I don't have any continuation from there. So, fork move doesn't look very nice to me actually. I can take this queen. Opponent can only take with the king if the opponent wants to take back my knight, but rather opponent will take my queen, and then I also take, and that is not a bad position to be in. I can take with the knight as well, so that looks okay to me. If I go with my knight here and give a check, opponent takes my knight, I take back, so queen for a knight, but then my queen is lost with, and I don't get anything much. So take this with the knight, maybe. Yes, and now I can take with the knight itself because I have a comeback, which will give a check as well. So it's a nice puzzle, an easy one. 2130 is the rating, and I think I'll stop here for now. Gained 30 points, solved some puzzles. Few were very nice. Some of them, of course, didn't go right to begin with, but things like those can always happen on any given day. But the process of solving these puzzles is very important, and I think we strike the right point multiple times. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do let me know your feedback. Keep watching and sharing. Please do subscribe to the channel as well, and I shall see you tomorrow with some interesting and instructive content like always. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye bye.